Welcome back to the Pro Sports Podcasters on YouTube. My name is Cobe. Most of you know me as Cobe from the podcast. And if you haven't checked out our podcast yet, we are basically across every podcast application, all the major ones. You can just search Pro Sports Podcasters, or you can visit our website, www.prosportspodcasters.com, and you can find our podcast there. We've got athletes, coaches, agents, insiders from pretty much every sport you can think of. And if NFL All Day is your thing, and it probably is, and that's why you're watching this video, we cover a lot of NFL All Day now on the podcast as well. And of course, quite a few articles on our actual website. So definitely check that out. I'll leave a link in the description. I'll also leave a link to our Discord, which is growing every single day. There's so much activity there. I'm absolutely loving it. The conversations and just the discussions that we're having about NFL All Day lead to a lot of new ideas and reasons for me to keep producing content here on the YouTube channel. Now, what I want to talk about today is really just a thank you, right? This is a thank you to Dapper Labs and the NFL All Day team. They are doing shit right. Everything I wanted from NFL All Day has happened. If you go way back to some of my earliest videos on NFL All Day, I released a video on 3 different NFL All Day strategies, one of which was mine. And my strategy, and those of you that follow the channel know, that I was all about developing a collection that focused around fantasy football and performance-based challenges. Well, since the NFL All Day platform launched, and I've been pushing for this the whole time. What do I get? OTM Rumble, so NFL All Day Fantasy Football, and now the All Day Playbook Challenge System, which is essentially the performance-based challenges I was really hoping for. And this accomplishes 2 things. First of all, the fantasy football variant through OTM Rumble, it just brings the fantasy football community to NFL All Day, and that's the largest, most active community when it comes to NFL football. So if you want to grow this platform, that's where you go. And then the All Day Challenge Playbook, this gives you an opportunity for every single moment in your collection to be relevant, right? And what I love about this is that it plays right into my strategy and right into my collection. Okay, so over the last few months, there was differing opinions on what people should be collecting. And a lot of people were of the opinion that you need to be going after rares. If it wasn't rare, it wasn't important. I never adopted that strategy. I always felt like you needed a few rares, but the primary reason I got rares was, one, for eventually OTM Rumble. Once I found out about that, I started to add a little more to my rare collection, so I had some heroes to play. But 2 is because there are a number of players that are only available as a rare, or so important that I saw having the rare as a distinct advantage depending what happens later on. But the majority of my collection, a massive percentage of my collection, is commons. And the best thing about them is I got commons to cover every statistical category, and most of them. There are very few key commons that I don't own. Probably the one major common I don't have is a Tom Brady, and that's because I refuse to pay like $300 for a common. And that's why I don't have a Tom Brady. Outside of that, I have the majority of commons that are required. You can look through my wide receiver list of commons. I got pretty much every single wide receiver you would think of. Same thing with running backs. Same thing with tight ends. On the defensive side, I probably have a more complete defensive collection than the majority of people on the platform because I love the defensive side of the ball, and I know that at some point we're going to see sacks, we're going to see interceptions, we might even see tackles, challenges that are involved that require these players. So I got it all. And I'm happy I did what I did because NFL All Day obliged. They gave me exactly what I wanted. And I think once the community gets a real good look at this and experiences it for a couple weeks, the community is going to realize this is what they should have wanted all the time as well. Because it's going to keep the marketplace active. It's going to give everyone opportunities to make money on the marketplace, to turn a profit. It's also going to make moments that you thought when you cracked them in a pack, you were disappointed, you are no longer disappointed. I mean, I think one of the funniest things in the beginning of all this is when I started buying my first packs as they were being released during the closed beta. And the few people I knew that played NFL All Day would be cracking their packs, and we would compare, what we got. And I saw disappointment after disappointment after disappointment in the eyes of so many of my friends because they'd crack a pack and not get the offensive star they wanted, but they end up getting a defensive star that they don't know. And I would be like, wow, you scored. And they're like, how do you figure? And I was like, well, you got a Denzel Ward, and he's awesome. Right? Something like that. But they didn't see it that way because they're casual football fans or they're fantasy football fans, and they've never played a fantasy football with IDP involved. So they've never really looked at the defensive side of the ball except for which defense overall is good. Now, through NFL All Day, they're gonna learn to love some of these defensive stars. They're going to develop an interest in the defensive side of the game other than, which team can hold the opposing team to the fewest points. This is really good for NFL football in general, right? This is going to benefit the NFL in the long run because that anybody who's got some time is going to have their eyes glued to the screen on Sunday so they can see what's going on at every aspect of the game so they know which moments they may require or have to quickly buy off the marketplace to finish out some of these playbook challenges. So this is just perfect. It's awesome. And I couldn't be happier. And I know that everyone's happy because if you hop on our Discord, again, link in the description, you're going to basically hear the excitement through their text messages. Okay. That's how excited everybody is about what's going on right now. And it's reflected in the account values. It's reflected in the activity on the marketplace. You're now seeing moments that sat for months dormant, unpurchased, now getting snatched up and the floors being raised because people realize everything is relevant. And that's the true beauty behind this, is that you no longer crack a pack and are disappointed. Can't wait to crack my first pack in Series 2. Till next time.